And what
Hey guys, now I got a problem. This is my FlySky FS i6s, and it flipped over a bit, and this switch just broke off. Yeah, you see it was this three-way switch like up here. This one is still there, but this latch on this switch just broke off. You see down there there's a little bit rest left, so we need to replace this. What I ordered is this one. Yeah, we got this one, three-way switch. So in the center everything is off, and on in this direction and on in this direction, off in the center. So now we need to open our transmitter. Yeah, to do that you turn it around, you remove the batteries from the case. There should be no power on it when you open it. Then here I already removed the rubber. You just flip this off a bit. So first time it's a bit more hard to do this. You need to go under it very careful, don't rip it. So when you go under it here, don't do scratches to your transmitter, you don't want this. You go under it and then it pops out. There's small rubber latches on it, don't rip them off, just do it carefully. Then you get these two rubber grips off, and down there 4 screw holes. You unscrew the screws, be careful, don't drop them, and after doing that you just remove the back part of it. So I already prepared this. There's 2 plugs in it, 1 and 2. So I removed these 2 plugs already, so I can place this back part away, and we stick to the front part. So here we see the PCB. Don't touch it too much. You might have static hands and it might kill the CPU down here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, still working. So this is a small board with a switch, and in this version of the FlySky transmitter it's no more like in the old one a single switch. Here they put a small board and there is these 2 switch on it. So we need to modify it. Actually, first, to get this out, you remove these 2 screws here. I already loosened them. You take a screwdriver a bit, very careful, don't break anything, and just push it a bit on one slot and you can remove it. These 2 nuts, just remove them. So then you push out carefully the 2 switches. It comes off this little board. So I unplug it here, so I don't have any more a connection to the main board. I don't want to damage anything here. So, and the second is we need to be also careful with our joysticks here, so that we don't damage them when it is down on the surface. Maybe you put some soft cushion or something under it. I will do this now, some foam. Wait a second. So now we take a closer look to the small board when it's out from the case. So unfortunately these plugs that you get in eBay, Banggood or wherever, that is sold for the FlySky transmitters as a replacement, they have a different size. So the latch is actually the same. The thread size is also the same, but the housing is a bit higher on the replacement switches, and for now I couldn't find any similar to this one. The width is the same, but as you see, the new housing, the red one here, definitely is like 4 millimeters higher than the old original one. So it has a different height, and that won't work if you put it back into this housing of the transmitter. I will cut the PCB here in between So the switch will be separate, and then I will do some wires from these connectors here in the center directly on the pins of the switch, and then it's connected again. And so there's actually 3 connections to the 3 pins of these switches. Yeah, you see there's 3 pins on it. Yeah. So there's 3 pins on it, and there's a red wire going here to the top. Then down there beneath it is an orange one going to the center of the switch, and down here is a black one going to the lower pin. So I will just cut it and then mount here on the back side 3 small wires, solder them there, and solder them to the pin of the switch, and then the problem is solved. So to cut it, I will try just to cut it like this, just in the center. Mostly a PCB is possible. Zack. There, it's already done. One side cut from this side here. Red, orange, black. So first, second, and the last one, that's probably ground. So I can place this back here, mount it again, this switch was still good. So then we just take the new switch. There's a notch in it that was top. I will just place it that way. Hold it down with one finger. The nut on the other side. Screw it down. Nah. So the new switch is already in place. There's no difference to that one. New switch. So now the connections on the back side. So as I told you, first, second, and last needs to be connected to each of these pins. That's it. So we will heat up our soldering iron and then do a bit soldering. So now I prepare 3 little wires. I just have an orange, red and black, but color doesn't matter. I will take 3 different colors, so it's not so easy to mix them up. I will just put a little tin on the end, on each end. So 1 from both ends. So, back on the transmitter. So first thing I like to do is put some solder on every single pin of the switch, so it will connect easier if you pre-solder them. Don't touch anything else in these plastic parts here with a hot soldering iron. Dangerous. So next we take the red wire, what was on the top, and fix it here to this small pin here. That will be very fast, very quickly done, already done. Next was the orange one. And now finally the black one on the bottom. That's way easier because this connector is a bit down, so there is no way that I could accidentally connect it to anything else. That's it. So now what they did, I will do it the same way. Here they twisted the wires, less prone to any noise, radio noise. So we will just twist these wires here. Don't do them so long, just as short as necessary, or as long as necessary, that way around. So now I can connect the 3 wires. Don't burn your fingers. It's more something when you're already a little bit experienced to soldering to do this kind of work. Not enough solder on it. I will add a bit more solder to the pins of the plug, the switch. So again, number 1. So don't make the wires too long. So because here you have your joystick, yeah, should not be in there. So then just push it down a bit. Now we are ready to close the whole thing again. I will just unplug the soldering iron. So finally, I like to put everything back together. So here now we see the new red switch. That's the red switch is a new one. I just connected it to the PCB of the 2 switches. Now what we need to do, don't forget to plug everything back. Here this small plug needs to be back in the PCB, just on both sides with your finger. Put it in its final position and it's back. So now the back cover of the transmitter. So this one here, coming from the battery case, was in here. Don't press it down because on the other side you have your switches. Don't damage them. So this one, you can't mix it up really as long as you don't use brutal force. It has a notch, and this notch makes it only possible in one position to plug it back. So now the other one, that is from these 2 back cover switches. You see this in many other videos, how to use them. So this one is the same way. You can't really plug it wrong way as long as you don't use force. So that's already back. And final check, no wires hanging around, nothing loose. The switches are in position, everything back, nothing blocking our joysticks. So, and we just close it again. So, we are just going to close the back cover now with its 4 screws. You put them back.
Screw them. What you need is a fine Phillips screwdriver. No, this plastic here. It's not in the right position. I just turn it backwards a bit again. Aha, now that goes together. Now I go forward. Next one. Hold it a bit together and put the screws back in your transmitter housing. I don't tighten the first turn so much, so one by one back in the position so that the plastic housing gets can touch. There's no more gap here. So now I tighten them all four. Not too much, you don't need. It's only plastic, remember. No brutal force needed. So then we need to put these rubber grips back in their position. You just push them in a little bit like this, and also here on that side. So that's already back. And now the other side, turn it around, put it back. So now what we got, the new switch is back in place. 3-way switch, 2-way switch, 2-way switch. Luckily nothing broken. Oh, so it slides out again, so it wasn't properly fixed, so I guess that's a problem too. I need to massage it a bit inside so that the rubber latches really flip in. So, there's another one that's not properly in place. Okay, got it. What we do now, batteries. So, put the batteries back in place. Pay attention to the polarity. The cover. Now we switch it on.
So, this needs to be set up. We'll just set it up to switch number 8. So what you need to do, you go to the settings, you go a bit down, auxiliary channels, switch channel 8 was my plan, none, so switch, when you tap there, as I remember it was switch B, let's see. Okay, now I connected channel 8 with switch B, let's see, back, now channel 8, there it is. So now we compare the new switch that I just built in and the original switch. So the new switch is placed on channel 8. So now they are both in their forward position. Now I center them so they do exactly the same, and right, and that is in the backward position. So center again, forward. So exactly the same. So it works. We replaced this broken switch here and the transmitter is back to normal. So guys, now I need to excuse myself for this little noise in all this audio of this repair video, but I couldn't stop my electric cooler because inside I need to keep fresh Bavarian beer cool. So of course I can't stop this.